Okay guys, now that we finished the funny years of high school, time to throw that out and get to college. What's going on guys, Justin here, back with another Storytime video. Now that we're done with high school, it's time to take you guys into my first year of college. This video comes as a request from Anna King, who wanted me to talk about my college experience and also wanted me to do another video on M from my summer job. When it comes to M, or now I can call her Mel, I'm actually trying to get her here to record the video with me. And I asked her about it. She says she would love to do it, but with work, she'll only be available on Friday to shoot the video. So if all goes to plan and we do end up shooting the video on Friday, I will hopefully have the video up by Saturday. But with that said, let's get right into my college experience. For my freshman year, I chose to go to the College of Staten Island. I made that decision for two reasons. I wanted the whole on-campus college experience, living in a dorm, living on your own for the first time. I wanted all of that. But I did not want to pay $35,000 to $50,000 for a school that my first two choices wanted me to pay, which were RIT and Quinnipiac University. So the College of Staten Island offered me a dorm. Like, they had a residence hall that was opening the semester I got there. And it was a nice distance between that school and my house because it was still in New York City, but it was only 2 hours away. So I get the little bit of distance from home that I wanted, plus the luxury of being able to travel back home whenever I want to see my family or my friends. CSI had a dorm, or they like to call it a residence hall. Apparently it was in the works for the past couple of years. I did not know anything about it until my senior year of high school, when I just searched up CUNY dorms. And these dorms looked really nice in the pictures. Like, here's the layout of the dorms that they had. The one I lived in was a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, almost like a full-on apartment. It had 2 single beds, which were too expensive for me, and it had a shared bed, which was the one I ended up taking. Full kitchen, 2 full bathrooms, a shared living room, and a bunch of other amenities. And I jumped the gun on that as quick as I could. I called the residence hall. I found out how much the price of the dorm was. I found out how I could pay for it. I did everything I could, including giving in my commitment form saying that I was going to CSI. Fast forward to when I actually moved in the dorms. Oh my goodness, this place could not have been any different from each other. So the residence hall in CSI was actually 2 different buildings. You had the North building and you had the South building. The North building you really considered as the suburbs. It was very quiet. They seemed to be more strict with the ID check-ins. They had study rooms on the first floor, and really it was like being in a suburban area. The South building, where I lived at, some students actually called it the hood because we had pool tables, we had 60-inch TVs. We were like the most social out of the 2 dorms. We had community rooms where people actually threw parties in. We had the computer lab. A lot of people would end up coming to the South building instead of going to the North building. And some people who were living in the South building actually complained that there would be too much noise from people staying on the first floor, from people in the lounge, playing pool, all that stuff. But I'm from Manhattan. I'm used to loud noises. I can hear traffic right now as I'm recording this video. But let me tell you guys, living in that dorm in the beginning was not easy at all. So before I even moved in there, we actually got a letter about a month before move-in day saying that there was a chance that the dorms weren't even going to be ready, and for us to take any kind of precautions in case that this delay moved throughout the semester. But then with 2 weeks left, they emailed us again and said that everything was a-okay, all the problems were fixed, and that all of us could move in at our scheduled move-in day. But when we actually got in the dorms, after I unpacked and I settled in, as soon as everybody settled in, we started noticing the problems from the start. For instance, we had no internet, which we were promised. We had no cable, which we were promised. And there was even no hot water. So you left 18, 19, 20, 21-year-olds, you know, college students, without the three things that most of us need. And this problem kept on going for the first 2 weeks that we were living in a dorm. But the people who got it worse than the rest of us were those who lived on the first floor of both buildings. Not only did the first floors of each dorm not have hot water, internet, or cable, they weren't even ready for the residents to move into. If you lived on the first floor of the north or the south building, they actually put you in a hotel for the time being while the rooms were actually being finished up. And then they had a shuttle bus that would take them from the hotel to campus and back, while also giving them a stipend in return for food and whatever else they needed. Now, putting aside all the dorm issues, which there are a lot of, and I will be bringing up all of them in these videos, let's go on to classes. Guys, I committed the #1 sin of being a college student, and that was getting an 8 a.m. class. I always heard the rule from some of my friends who are already in college that you never want to take an 8 a.m. class. But I thought, you know, my high school made me start classes at 7:55 in the morning. An 8 a.m. class ain't gonna bother me, especially when I'm living on campus. Boy, was I wrong. I did not want to wake up for these classes at all. My 8 a.m. took place every Tuesday and Thursday, and it was just like the most tiring part of my day because I wouldn't even go to sleep until about 2, 3, sometimes 4 in the morning. So my 8 a.m. class ended up being an English class, and I wanted to make a good first impression. So I got to class early, probably around 7:45-ish. Got all my books out, ready to learn, ready to find out what this English class is all about, to find out that my professor didn't even show up. And I just thought this was a giant waste of my time. Like, it was 8:15 at the time that all of us decided to leave. And I thought, one thing, why didn't he email us if he wasn't going to show up? And two, I can't even go back to sleep because I got another class at 10 o'clock in the morning. But I'm bringing up this English class because it was just like the most odd and interesting class I had. So the professor I had was named Christopher Jones. He is one unique character. Not professor, character. The man has fingernails this long. He had hair up to his shoulders. He always talked about fantasy stories, sci-fi stories, and he used to tell us how he would never kill a bug. Like, he would literally like pick a bug up from class and let it like crawl around on him. And that's just like the nastiest thing because I'm used to cockroaches and my first instinct is to just kill them. But one of the things I liked about that class was the fact that he really wanted you to think outside the box, and when you write, he wanted you to just be original with your stories. So to help us, we did an exercise where each of us were supposed to write 2 characters and a setting on 3 different pieces of paper, and he put all of that stuff in a hat. So we were told to pick up those 3 things, characters, setting, whatnot, and we had to make a story out of it. Tell me how I ended up with Predator and Tweety on a spaceship. What the heck am I going to write about this? Literally, I just BS'd that whole assignment, but I wanted to make it the best BS work I've ever done. So I made this crazy story about Predator trying to take over the world, and how the US government had to employ its greatest weapon, which was Tweety, who had been genetically modified and basically hulked out. And Tweety would go in there and go straight up Rambo on Predator, putting a grenade in someone's mouth and watching their head explode, things like that. And that actually impressed the whole class to the point that a lot of them really liked that story. Which was weird because that wasn't even my favorite story, and I wrote it. My favorite story was actually about the girl who actually saw the ghost of Bob Marley and smoked up in her house. Okay guys, this video is getting very long, so I will be doing a part 2 of this to talk about maybe my spring semester, because all of this happened in the fall so far. The last thing I want to bring up, one day, me, my roommates, my friend E, who actually went to CSI with me, and she actually lived a floor below me, we were all just hanging out in my room, and we started to notice a group of girls from the building across from us actually looking into our room. So we tried to get their attention. Like, we were trying to wave at them. We tried to write a sign, but it was too dark for them to see. We tried to say 401, which was our room in the south building. And eventually we got their attention. We went to the north building, talked to them for a little bit in their room, and then eventually brought them back to our room to hang out, chill, watch a couple movies. You know, this is before Netflix and chill was actually a thing. And I remember one girl in particular from that group. She was an international student from France. And because none of us could remember her name, because we were all bad at memorizing names, we decided to just call her Frenchie. That was her name. She actually agreed with it, whatnot. And the reason I'm bringing Frenchie up is because a couple of weeks after that, my roommates and a friend of ours who did not live in the dorms was hanging out in my room, chilling, having a good time, whatever. I was too tired because I was working that day, so I actually went to my room and fell asleep. The next day I wake up and they're telling me how they saw Frenchie from one of the windows in my room masturbating with the blinds up, the lights on, the door is closed, and I'm pretty sure it was locked. They said she was like fully naked, masturbating, staring at her tablet with her boyfriend on Skype watching the whole thing. I didn't believe it at first. I thought this was just BS. This could not have been true. Bruh. The girl, the friend of ours, who did not live in the dorms, she whipped out her phone and showed us a video. Well, showed me a video of the whole thing taking place. And I could not believe what I was seeing. Like, everything they told me was completely true. Door was locked, lights were on, blinds was open, and she was like fully in the nude. I know we live in the 4th floor, but you know, our buildings are right across from each other. So we could see inside a lot of people's rooms, but I didn't know like what to be more shocked about. Was it the fact that Frenchie literally was doing something? It's normal for, you know, people to do that with the door closed. However, she left the blinds up and the lights on, so of course people could see it. But I don't know whether to be more shocked at that or the fact that this girl actually had a video of it. She had video evidence of this happening. And the first thing in my head was like, yo, you could get in trouble for this. This is like documenting somebody's private life without them knowing, and certainly without their consent. Anyways, guys, that's actually where I'm going to leave you with this video. This is only part 1. I'll probably have part 2 later on this week. I'm aiming for Thursday or Friday. With that said, guys, I'm Justin. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you out in the next video.